before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official and follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. Speaking of Saraya, she was discussed on the Keeping It 100 podcast where Conan criticized her promo from Dynamite last week, saying, "I like Paige personally because I know her. I like her professionally. I've always liked her, but this was way too long. And I thought it was kind of unprofessional to say, don't wrap me up, I'll stop when I want. Because if that was a shoot, you just said it into someone else's segment, okay? Way too much Saraya. Because afterwards, she was on commentary, no need for the lumberjacks, okay? And I've said this before, I think the star now is Hater. And what do? They have Willow run her off. Like, really? She goes, I am the revolution. That was really more like revolting. When she actually said Toni Storm is being utilized to her full potential, some people booed. I think people see what I've said. She doesn't work the crowd. She's not charismatic. She doesn't take command of the ring. She doesn't act like a star, albeit she's a good worker and good looking. On that same podcast, Eric Bischoff spoke about the booking in AEW when it comes to established stars on the roster. As he noted, anytime you work with somebody who's a lot more experienced than you are and is willing, as I am sure Jericho is and Cesaro, because they're two great people and they're pros, and they would be willing to share, I am sure. Obviously that's an advantage, but is that the best use of resources, for God's sake? Because what are you doing to Chris Jericho and Cesaro? What are you doing to their characters and their value? What happens to their equity? Now you're going to have him putting over other talent or working with younger talent as a coach or a trainer? I don't know. Doesn't seem like a great way of using your resources, but what do I know? With Cody Rhodes currently out of action, recovering from a torn pec, many are pegging him to return at the Royal Rumble to make a run for the world title. With this in mind, Fightful recently reported that numerous sources in WWE who said that at the time that Cody Rhodes sustained his injury, Vince McMahon had not solidified plans to make Cody Rhodes the WWE or Universal Champion. The report would go on to note that McMahon was all on board for Reigns to becoming double champion, and that there were no ideas floated around from Vince that would have indicated he was ready to move on from that this summer. With Robbie Fox of Barstool recently interviewing AEW President Tony Khan, he asked those online to submit questions. Barstool Sports' Dave Portnoy wrote, "When he got Barstool Van Talk canceled, why did he then invite me to sit next to him at a fight at MSG as his guest and pretend that I didn't know he was responsible? Did he think I was stupid or that I just forget, or is he just that two-faced?" Of course, Portnoy was confused and meant to say Nick Khan, who had filed a complaint on behalf of a client against Portnoy over allegations of misogyny, which led to Barstool's deal with ESPN getting canceled and the show in question getting canned after one episode. Portnoy then wrote, "Quick correction, I got the wrong Khan. Tony we like. Nick is the guy who is full of carry on." Tony Khan would respond, "Two more different people we could not be. Here's to not being two-faced." During an interview with Chris Van Vliet, owner of American Top Team Dan Lambert touched on his involvement with AEW and why he's disappeared from programming. About 2 months ago, we finished up our feud with the Men of the Year. We had Scorpio Sky drop the belt to Wardlow. Sky was going to take a couple months off because he had a knee injury that needed to heal. Ethan Page was being repackaged so he could do what he is doing now with the firm and with MJF. So I thought that it was a good time to wind down. I thought that I was getting stale. The reactions were still good, but I just grabbed Tony Khan after the show and said that I think this has run its course. I don't want to go backwards or overstay my welcome. He was like, "Yeah man, sure. If you have an idea for something in the future, then come back, then sure, whatever, call me. If Tony called me tomorrow and had a good idea and I liked it, then sure, I'll do it." For an interview with Mas Lucha, AEW star Andrade spoke about being in AEW and then touched on preferring it to the previous schedule he had in WWE. "Right now I feel a little stagnant. I feel like I want more. I feel like although I have a good contract, the schedule is good. I feel like the schedule, because WWE was inhuman, it was quite a lot. People cannot imagine. They think because he is fighting on TV, it is the only time he fights. There are non-televised matches in other cities, other countries. It's difficult because I want more. I feel like I want more that rushes back. It's the pressure that we want more. When speaking on the Bound for Glory press pass, Mickie James talked about proving she can still compete at the highest level. I had to go home, and I had to think about a lot of things. And the reality is that I love this business so much, and I love it too much to not be the best that I can be. Over the last 2 decades, I've seen the business evolve, devolve, and then come back again for the women, and it's true. We have, everywhere you look, is some of the greatest talent out there that are in television. I always said that I never wanted to fade away. I just don't want that. I don't want to go out a shell of what I used to be. And if I can't be that champion and I can't fight the way I need to fight, because the truth is my body hurts. And I love it so much, and I give everything that I have, and then it takes me longer to come back. It takes me longer to heal. I just want to be able to spend time with my son, and he's only 8 years old. I want to be able to go to his games and do all of these things and still be able to be my best self for him. But I also want to be, if I'm going to stay in the business and still be here, I just want to be the best champion and be the best Mickie James that I can be. If I can't be that, then I don't belong here anymore. And that's just the reality. I love the business so much, and I'm so grateful that we've come so far, and I'm so grateful that the women are getting all of these opportunities. I think it took a long time and a lot of women to get here, to be able to live in this journey for so long, and to see it and see so many women thriving and being truly seen as equals, and being able to make the money and main event the shows and do all of these things. It's amazing. It's amazing. And if you would have told little Alexis Lurie when I was first at TNA that these things were going to happen, I would have thought you were insane, because we were just novelties. You were lucky to get a spot. You were lucky to be a manager. You were lucky to get a match. Now it's true equality, and it's awesome. With Andrade teasing his exit from AEW and a possible return to WWE, AEW President Tony Khan spoke about Andrade's match against 10 of the Dark Order, saying Andrade is a terrible guy. If Andrade loses this match, he would leave AEW forever. And frankly, the way things have gone with Andrade and the way things have carried on, I think a lot of people might not mind that, but it'll be an interesting situation to follow. With Variety, Tony Khan would be asked about his relationship with MJF, who apparently signed a new deal without a contract extension. It's very professional. He's been part of AEW from day one, and he's one of the most important stars on our TV show. Whether you love MJF or love to hate MJF, I think he's one of the wrestlers who's connected with the audience in recent years and made himself a star. He's also had the company behind him to help build him and support him. I think that he is the total package of everything it takes to be a successful pro wrestler. I think he has it all. He's a really important part of AEW. With him taking part in his retirement match over the summer, Ric Flair addressed rumors of him potentially getting back between the ropes, saying on his podcast, "None. When I say it inspires me to want to do it again, it's not that I couldn't. I will stand by this. I wish I hadn't said it was my last match. But I don't want to disappoint a bunch of fans by doing it again. But I got myself in a good shape and then, made one what turned out to be drastic mistake by not hydrating, but I feel great. I feel like as long as you're healthy, you want to do, and you should do what you want to do when you get to an age. I mean, we will always be limiting ourselves or what things. I feel like we limit ourselves to what people think we should be doing sometimes as opposed to what we're doing." Flair would also note that he would love to manage Andrade, his son-in-law. I haven't spoken with him. I knew he had a big match. I don't really haven't kept track of what he's doing there. I had hoped, as I told you before, I wish Tony would have let me manage him. He is an absolutely phenomenal worker and tough kid. I wish I could have managed him, but I guess Tony elected not to go with me for whatever reason. With him getting arrested for DUI back in June, it seems these legal issues will prevent Jeff Hardy from returning to AEW anytime soon, as it was reported that Hardy has a pre-trial hearing for his DUI-related charges in Florida on Wednesday, October 19th. As we reported over the summer, Hardy's attorneys waived his right to a speedy trial and requested a hearing set for July be pushed back 60 days to assist in his defense. The October 19th date would be the rescheduled hearing. PW Insider is told Hardy is still officially with AEW, but is not expected to return from his suspension until his legal matters are cleared up, and he's shown he can maintain sobriety. Hardy has been in treatment for some time after his arrest earlier this year. Talking to Mas Lucha about his time in AEW, Andrade touched on the new head of creative in WWE, Triple H, getting in contact with him. I am happy that he got signed. I tried to help as much as possible, and AEW liked his work. People wanted to see Los Ingobernables back together after I joined WWE. I went to AEW and reformed it is something awesome, and there will be a lot of stuff coming. Maybe good or it may be bad. I don't want to get ahead of myself. He gave me an opportunity and helped me a lot in NXT, and I spoke to him when I requested my release. We were on good terms, and he always mentioned that I can keep in contact with him. I cannot say that I've contacted him recently, but it is difficult due to legalities, and if he wanted to speak to me, my wife works there, so he can always reach out to me from there too. It is difficult at the same time because Charlotte has time off due to personal reasons, and she will specify them in future interviews. It was very heavy because she worked on Thursdays to work on weekends while I traveled on Tuesdays and returned on Thursdays as soon as she was scheduled to leave. Right now, we are good because I got to see her more. I hope she comes back soon. With AEW, I don't know what will happen on Friday. It's a coin toss. I don't know what can happen, and I am a little like I have felt in WWE, whereas I wanted to do more and I feel like I am not growing. I want more. I'm not a conformist. Even if they pay me a lot, I get good pay and I work fewer dates, but I want more. It's been over a year since I joined AEW. A lot of people already know me from WWE, but it's time to focus on the championship. I want more. As a former WWE star passed away recently, the company has taken to Twitter to issue a statement writing, WWE is saddened to learn of the passing of Sarah Lee. As a former Tough Enough winner, Lee served as an inspiration to many in the sports entertainment world. WWE offers its heartfelt condolences to her family, friends, and fans. With many WWE fans wondering when they'll see Olympic gold medalist Gable Steveson in action, it's been said by ESPN's Mike Coppinger that Gable found out about having Wolff Parkinson's White syndrome last year as WWE advised him to go through with a heart procedure. Now, it's been reported that we're glad to see that Gable is healthy and training full-time at our Performance Center in Orlando. When asked by Ariel Helwani about those in his company taking shots at WWE, AEW President Tony Khan mentioned, "I've said it before, I consider all wrestling as competition." Some people ask why I'll talk about other wrestling companies, especially WWE, and I'll tell you. It was literally a book handed to me over 3 years ago before the launch of AEW Dynamite by Warner Media at the time before it was Warner Bros. Discovery. It was telling me what our place was already because Dynamite hadn't launched. We had carved out a space in the pay-per-view business. They handed me a book. It was about how to be a challenger brand. This is what you are. A challenger brand, I learned then 3 years ago, is not the industry leader, but it is also not a niche brand. It is not that. It is a big company. It is Pepsi to Coca-Cola. It is Burger King to McDonald's. What is Burger King marketing? Basically, a lot of it is, hey, McDonald's sucks, guys. So for AEW, it's just part of what we are. We're a challenger brand. There's no reason to pretend we're not. That's what you are. Embrace it. So it is literally a corporate philosophy handed down on high to me by my boss, Warner Bros. Discovery. During that same interview, Khan admitted that the many releases on WWE's end have been beneficial for AEW. There's probably been a bit more similarity in what we're looking for in terms of the profile of a free agent, which I think is already going to start being a thing. I think we're looking at more similar people. There was definitely something happening this year where there were wrestlers being released from there that came here, and I definitely believe belong on national television that are huge stars in AEW. I think we were the benefit. The benefit of that was for AEW. With Pat McAfee recently leaving his position as a color commentator on SmackDown to fulfill obligations for ESPN's College Game Day broadcast, the Wrestling Observer pointed out that McAfee is set to return to the blue brand in January. With it said that McAfee will be rejoining the team, it's not known if he will be joining Michael Cole and Wade Barrett or if he will replace Barrett. In an update on the backstage brawl that took place between Andrade and Sammy Guevara at this week's AEW Dynamite, Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez noted on Wrestling Observer Radio, Tuesday night, they were talked to, both of them, and they were told no fighting, and Andrade was told that if this is your idea, you're not going to get fired if you fight, but you will be sent home. And Andrade said, don't worry, nothing's going to happen. There's going to be no fighting. This was Tuesday night. Sammy was the same thing. Nothing's going to happen. They had security there. Everybody was warned ahead of time. The story that was not on TMZ that I heard from multiple people was that in fact, Sammy did not throw any punches. One person did say that Andrade spun him around and Sammy shoved him, and then Andrade punched him. The other stories were that Andrade just punched him and Sammy did not fight back. This is what I heard from someone I totally trust on this one, that Andrade was waiting, everybody was waiting, Andrade was waiting in the hallway, he got 2 punches in before it was broken up and Sammy didn't fight back. Andrade is trying to get fired. We all know that. When guys want to leave, some will go to great extremes to do that. It's happened with WWE. I've talked to people in WWE who've tried to get fired with some of the craziest things in the world, and I've told them it's not going to work. There were some crazy stories of people trying to get fired. Getting in a fight was never one of them, but there's things much crazier than that from people who wanted to leave and get out and were not going to be allowed to do that because the company wasn't going to release them. Speaking about the previous brawl that took place after All Out between CM Punk, Ace Steel, and The Elite, The Observer would provide an update noting, we've been hearing a decent amount about it the past week, largely that threatened legal action has stalled everything and nobody has been let go yet, including Ace Steel. There is no time frame for anyone to return at this point. One person has threatened legal action and been uncooperative. Talking about a return that is seemingly set to take place, Fightful reported that Sarah Logan is coming back, as they said. As highlighted on tonight's SmackDown, another name is set to return to WWE. Sarah Logan was featured in a segment tonight, though her face wasn't shown. The Valhalla Await segments are being used to reintroduce her after an over 2-year absence. She was released in 2020 amid tons of budget cuts and has maintained a positive relationship with WWE. She appeared in the 2022 Royal Rumble and a Viking Raiders vignette. Outside of that, she's only wrestled once since her release, which was for Control Your Narrative. She's set to be put with Viking Raiders, but we haven't heard of the extent of plans for her actively competing. There have been numerous pitches from various people over the last couple of years to involve her in the Viking Raiders team. Apparently, prior to re-signing with AEW, Jon Moxley was a free agent this year, as it was reported that several sources indicated that Jon Moxley had been working at some point without a contract, but Fightful has not confirmed that. However, when we repeatedly asked about his contract status throughout the summer, we were told it was quite a situation. We're also told that AEW would do whatever it took to keep him with the company for the rest of his career. It goes without saying that AEW has worked to make a big investment in Moxley. Talking about Tony Khan and AEW telling Andrade he would not be fired for getting into a brawl with Sammy Guevara before it even occurred, Jim Cornette blasted the AEW president on his podcast, saying Tony Khan should have fired Andrade before, but he hasn't done house cleaning in 3 years. A couple of the people that really messed up bad, like that Jimmy Havoc and Joey Janelle and whatever, they were allowed to matriculate out. With his brother Bray Wyatt making his WWE comeback at Extreme Rules last night, it seems Bo Dallas is heading that way too, as Brian Alvarez reported from multiple sources. Bo Dallas should be back very soon. Speaking of Bray Wyatt, fans pointed out a possible tribute to the late Brody Lee, known as Luke Harper in WWE, as one wrote, "Y'all can tell me if this is a reach, but I thought this tiny detail / tribute to Brody from Bray Wyatt's return at Extreme Rules tonight was pretty freaking cool if that's what it was. Anyone else catch this?" Another said, "What a tribute to Mr. Brody Lee. That mask that Abby the Witch is wearing is what Brody Lee used to when he was Harper as the Bludgeon Brothers. Thanks for that, Bray, and God bless and continue to rest in power." And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.